Ezzy. All right. So we're going to give this a second to let a few people tune in before we get started. Welcome everyone on TikTok. If you could please give me a thumbs up, let me know that you can hear me and see me all right. Okay, excellent. Welcome everyone on Instagram. If you could give me a thumbs up, let me know that you can hear me and see me all right. That would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Okay, great. And then do we have Facebook? Yep, looks like we have Facebook and YouTube. Looking a little slow though. All right, we've got Demetrius. Hey, Demetrius. All right, we're going to have to give that a second to let some people tune in. So we have two Facebook. Oh, there we go. All right, it jumped. Okay, good. All right. I've been running around all day, and I had a big filming project, and then I went down to the beach for a walk, and I kind of got a little sunburnt, and so I'm a little out of sorts today. But I am going to do my best to stay with it. So bear with me. Want to make a couple quick announcements while we let everyone tune in. All right, we do have the spiritual life coach training is now complete. So you can get the whole course through video download and get certified as a spiritual life coach through Roots Revival Interfaith. You could just go up onto the website to get that. So that's exciting. We also have the reverendship training. If you were looking to become a reverend, if you want to become an ordained minister, you want to marry, bury, baptize, all the good things, and be trained in how to actually perform those ceremonies. That is also a full course that is complete and through video download up on the website. We finished that a couple months ago. We do have psychic mediumship course running evergreen. So you could join psychic mediumship course at any time. But if you wanted to do an actual in-person or you wanted to do a live class, I have to refilm all 28 weeks. So registration is now open. That's going to be January 7th. It starts of 2025. So go ahead, reserve your space for that. If you don't want to wait, go ahead. You could do evergreen anytime. Once you are certified as a psychic medium through the Ivy League Psychic Academy, you're up for Ivy Ceiling Call Center, all kinds of random party gigs, psychic fairs, Ivy League psychic fairs, and we're always doing something. Okay, so you have lifelong work opportunities with that. And of course, you can go off and do your own thing. Most people do both. We also have numerology class going on. This was the first time I ever taught the numerology course myself. I underestimated by quite a lot how much there was to say in numerology. I think I just know the way I think of numbers, and it went very fast in my head. But once you're explaining it, I was like, okay, I was off by several weeks. So we were supposed to be wrapping up the numerology course. It was supposed to be 3 weeks. And tomorrow was supposed to be the last day, but I miscalculated by quite a lot. So we added on 2 more days. So numerology training, you can still jump in if you want to, or you can just get the video downloads for the first 2 weeks. Tomorrow again is week 3. So numerology training, yeah, it's now a 5-week course. This is running Thursdays from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern if you want to join us in person or online. And again, you can just do the video download if you want to do that. If you guys want to book a reading with me, or for any of the events I'm about to mention, if you want to pre-book your spot to get a reading with me at one of these upcoming events, you can go to IvyRiveraPsychicMedium.com. If you only want to look at the classes, you could just go right to Ivy League Psychic Academy.com. Okay, so real quick, before I get into this, though, I do want to get you guys to start dropping your questions, your topics. This is my Dear Ivy show, so I'm not doing psychic mediumship readings tonight, but this is free advice, so you can ask me about anything. This is a play off of Dear Abby, the famous columnist. So anything goes. You want advice? Ask a question. And we'll be getting to you on all platforms. Okay, so what events do we have coming up? Jill, is it Relay for Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to try to go in order here. So we have Relay for Life. The let's see, Grand Island is running this event, cancer fundraiser. This is going to be June 2nd. And I don't have the time on here, but I believe it's like, I think it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 6 or something like that. So, anyways, it's up on my website. Okay. But Relay for Life. Okay, check it out. Come get a reading with me. Tons of vendors going on there, live music. It was a great time last year. We also have coming up Strawberry Festival. This is June 8th and 9th. So that's a Saturday and a Sunday at Merritt Estate Winery. This is out in Forestville, New York. This was a massive event. I have to say, Merritt Winery was really impressive with the events that they put on. So there were, and I want to say this is the 34th year or something. This is an old event. Okay. So they've got it down pat. I mean, thousands of foot traffickers, tons of bands. The food was amazing, a ridiculous amount of vendors. It was a really good time, and it was out in nature. So they have it on the property at Merritt Estate. And if you've never been out there, it's like, it just looks like a little, house. And then you see the vineyards, and then you drive back and it's like, okay, now we're out in the country. Okay. Just acres, tons and tons of people. It was nuts. It was really good. So come see me for a reading there. Tons of fun. We also have coming up Oliver Street Pride Festival. Okay. Gay Trans Pride. This is going to be Saturday, June 15th. This is on Oliver Street in Tonawanda. It's in that little park. You could pre-book with me. They also had, this park was packed, okay? A ton of vendors, a lot of artists, a lot of musicians. It was pretty incredible, okay? And just great people, great crowd. So come see me for some Pride celebration out there June 15th. And then we have, last but not least, and then we're going to move on to your questions. Margin Manor Winery is doing an Ivy League Psychic Fair. So it's going to be me, and I believe we have 4, maybe 5 other certified readers from my Ivy League Psychic Academy. I am booked for that one, but some of the other readers still have openings. We are doing walk-ins as well. And we have our henna girl back. So for those of you who've been following me for quite a few years, I always had Western New York henna. Her name is Sweetie. She's from India, and all her products are from India. She is the best henna artist throughout all of Western New York that I've seen. Okay, literally no one compares to this girl. She puts everyone to shame. She's phenomenal. She's fast. And you can pre-book with her. But, she was gone for COVID, and then she had a baby, and she's back. So she's working our psychic fairs again. We're so happy to have her. So again, you can just go on to IvyRiveraPsychicMedium.com, look at the events. And if you want to book with Sweetie ahead of time, or she is doing walk-ins for the henna as well. So she'll be back at Margin. All right, let's go ahead and start getting into some of your questions. What do we have first? Jill, my beautiful producer, will be popping these up. All right. So Emily, also, could everybody please give this video a thumbs up? Donations are appreciated. Always, comments help me out in the algorithm a lot, and subscribe. Of course, if you want to switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy, that's always going to help me out the most. And you could hit the join button to become a member there. Emily Davis says, can you touch on reoccurring dreams versus reality versus your subconscious mind? Okay. So Jill, let's leave that one up. Reoccurring dreams. Okay. I don't know what you mean, like, about reoccurring dreams versus reality. Because with the subconscious aspect, though, you are talking about reality, I guess. When you have a reoccurring dream, I do tend to think of it most commonly as being subconscious dreaming. You can check out the dreams class on my website, okay, to learn about all the different kinds of dreams. But I talk quite a lot about subconscious dreaming because it's really activated in this patterned way, in this reoccurring way, when you're not dealing with something. So if you had a fight with your lover, if you're having problems with your boss, if there's something financial you just can't figure out, if it's time to do some healing or some shadow work about your past or some painful or traumatic situation that seems to be resurrecting, right? These things are going to come into your mind while you're awake, and they're going to beckon you to deal with them. They're asking for transmutation, they're asking for attention. You would be very wise to become more mindful when you're going through one of these types of changes or stress circumstances. And you would want to, through that mindfulness, stop whenever it's coming up throughout your day and take some time to maybe just close your eyes for maybe 5 minutes and ask your higher mind, what is this about? Don't forget, your higher mind is all the answers. Okay, it's wonderful that we have angels. Thank God. It's amazing that we have guides. Yes, please. All right. It's wonderful that our ancestors are always ready to talk. I appreciate you. Okay. However, we have our higher mind, and your higher mind allows you to come to earth fully equipped with all the answers you need. So you really should be looking more to yourself. Now, what you could do in those moments is just really ask your higher mind, what is it that I'm supposed to be learning from this? What am I supposed to be taking from this experience? What is this experience showing me? If I am stressed, and you have to get honest about that, okay? Get comfortable in the discomfort. Step number one. You say, I'm uncomfortable. What can I do about it? You're going to hear an answer from your higher mind. Maybe your higher mind says there's nothing to do about it. Patience is a virtue. Work on being still right now. You just have to turn off your thoughts of worry toward it. You're going to have to wait this one out. We don't have the information yet. Change is coming. Soon you'll know, whatever it is. Or maybe they'll say, you should have left already, or you need to make a change now. Whatever it is, you're going to be able to resolve it. Now, if you don't do this, what ends up happening is that you fall asleep, and at night, it's just like, it just hammers you, it just sort of like repeat dream, repeat dream, repeat dream. It's like you could feel like a mouse on a wheel, like cyclical patterns. And you may feel even exhausted. Like you may go to bed and, what did you do for 8 hours? You stress dreamed, you had nightmares, you had pattern dreams. That is your brain's way, your subconscious mind's way of solving problems in your life that you're not dealing with when you're awake. Okay. So we just have to deal with our stuff. Now, you could also have recurring dreams if you're having premonitions. I know that's not really your question, and I'm not saying that's what's going on here. However, when, for example, 9/11 was coming and I was living in New York and I did not want to leave New York, because I was ignoring the premonition dreams I was having about 9/11, I started having them every single night. And then I was even going into trance while I was awake. So if you are having vision dreams, premonition dreams, prophecy has kicked in, it is also going to be reoccurring, and it will eventually sort of take over your entire existence, even when you're awake. Okay. So we don't want to rule that out. Thank you, Emily. That is a great question. And again, if you guys want to know about astral travel, lucid dreaming, subconscious dreaming, vivid dreaming, prophecy, all the different types, there is a class up on the website called Dreams, and I break it all down there. All right, let's move on to another one. Yes, just to clarify for everyone, I'm not doing psychic mediumship readings. You can book a reading with me, but today is just free advice. This is a play off of Dear Abby. All right, Nick Hogan says, hi, Ivy. I've been struggling with keeping my spirituality in focus. I am extremely busy with full-time work, and I have opted to go back to school full-time as well. Of course, I also have my wife, my family to care for. What is your advice for keeping my spirituality as a goalpost in my life? Well, I also did that. I raised 3 kids as a single mom. I had several cats. I went and I got a college degree. I was running my own business. I was going to, I spent sometimes, at least 5 hours in the car running the kids around to their stuff. There's no excuse to lose touch with your spirituality, because your spirituality is not separate from you. So the first thing you need to do is stop seeing it as like this other thing that I do, or this form of entertainment, or something I do for relaxation, or this place that I go to visit from time to time. Okay. That is the old school programmed mentality of the old timers and religion. Okay. That's what the older generations did with religion. Literally, it was go to church, spend 1 to 3 hours at church on Sunday, and then basically forget your religion, forget your spirituality, forget God the rest of the time. Okay. So it's that type of toxic programming that we need to shake out of our systems. You want to cleanse and detox from that, because you have been trained to think of your spiritual self as separate than like your real self, and it isn't. So spirituality is with you all the time. I would also say this, with everything that I had going on, in my life at that time, and that went on for, 20 years, really. I would just use awareness and mindfulness techniques, because I know that the mundane things that are happening every day are shopping, hassles, deadlines, interactions that I'm having with family or friends, everything that I was doing, my workouts even, that these were the areas where I was actually having an opportunity to spiritually develop. So we don't spiritually develop in a vacuum, and we don't spiritually develop typically reading books or getting certifications or taking certain classes. You can have some pretty amazing insights there, but it's in the everyday. It's walking out your everyday routine and interacting with the world around you and the people around you. And when spirit comes to you, those are the moments when you can actually evolve in your spiritual development. You're only able to do that because you're developing as a person. So you're doing self development. So think of it this way, self development is spiritual development. A lot of people who just want to level jump, lots and lots of people out there just want to level jump. Okay. They think I'm going to develop spiritually, but it has no fruit. It has no roots. It's not real. They've just learned a bunch of junk. Okay. Maybe they could pass the test if it were written, you know, multiple choice. Maybe they would be able to answer some of these spiritual or energetic metaphysical questions. But I guarantee on a universal level, on a cosmic level, they have failed, because there is nothing of substance there. I always say to the psychic mediumship students, mediumship is the perfect metaphor for life. And what I mean by that is that you can train all you want in mediumship and listening to spirit, but until it hits you, on a Tuesday afternoon at 3 o'clock, and you have this epiphany moment in your own life, having a personal experience with the universe and with spirit, it's not going to mean anything. So it's paying more attention to what you're doing every day. But ultimately, and this is just a good lesson for everyone, stop seeing your spiritual self as separate from the real you. Stop treating your spiritual life or your spiritual journey like it's something you visit from time to time when you have time. It's always here, and it doesn't need you to, you know, go off and spend time with it. Because it's always happening, okay? But you may want to be more mindful. So, maybe you add in something simple like every morning with your cup of tea or coffee, you spend 10 to 15 minutes with your guides, and you say, what pitfalls can I avoid today? What big opportunities are coming in for me today? And how can I be of service? That's a very easy way to feel kind of like you're doing a meditational, ceremonial thing, with your guides and ancestors every day. That is a great question. Love that one. All right. Thank you, Nick Hogan, for that. Good luck. Balancing. She said, perfect. Nothing of substance without the spirit. 100%. That's why you have all these spiritual gurus who have no substance. There's nothing there. I wouldn't take a free reading from half these people. All right. Let's move on to Another one. Okay. So Inspired Soul says, "Hi Ivy, how do I know I'm supposed to do spiritual work for people?" Um because we all are. So back to the idea of colonization and Christianity and Catholicism taking over. As that happened, we all got divided away from our true roots. Our native indigenous roots are always understanding that we are spiritual creatures having a human experience here on earth, and that we are here as part of a community. It is only in this individualistic, patriarchal, capitalistic, colonized, you know what I mean, toxic mentality that we have today. And look at how well that's going. That we've been programmed to believe that maybe we're not supposed to give spiritual healing to other people, right? And there's also no such thing. There's no such thing as spiritual work. This is another myth that I want to spend more time breaking down, kind of like Nick Hogan's question when she was like, how can I do more spiritual development when I don't have time? The way that we talk about spiritual work is also colonized. It is appropriated tasks or professions or titles, that have been taken away again from our indigenous and native communities. Typically, that's what it is. You're still looking at it all over the world, but that's all it is, right? And why should they be able to call it spiritual work? Okay, it's dark arts if you ask me. These are not the standards that we want to try to live up to. Okay, it is subpar trash from the past. So let's remember that spiritual work is something you do every single day when you wake up and you breathe, every day when you get out of bed, every day when you go to work, you deal with other people, whatever it is that you do, that in itself is spiritual work. The idea that only some of us are healers, right? Or some of us are psychic, or, some of us should be out here doing it, is not at all the case. It is also, not necessarily that everyone's called to do it. Like, I understand this is a calling on my life. Okay, I'm fine doing it full time, but this isn't like all I do. I do other things. And I think that we need to think of it in a more balanced way. Also, we've gotten into these routines again because of the colonization and the appropriators and the dark arts people who, masquerade as light workers massively out there today, and have been for, hundreds of years. This is a problem because we then take other professions where people are doing the healing work and they are genuine light workers, and we don't give them that title. We say that's something else. So, we need to think of all the other ways, especially as more and more people who are coming to earth and the younger generations are doing more light work. We need to sort of redefine what light work is. We need to redefine what spiritual work and healing actually is. Let's look at Gen Z and the mass numbers that they are putting out on the campuses right now with the protests for Palestine, for example. That's light work. Okay. That's spiritual work. That's healing work. That's power. They're part of the revolution. Let's look at all the women who joined the 4B movement and have said, we're done. We're knocking the patriarchy out. We're getting back into a matriarchal system. We're not doing this anymore. That's light work. That's spiritual work. That is powerful stuff. Let's look at all the people who are nurses or who work at the animal shelters, or I see a lot of people in different random jobs where they come in communication with people quite a lot, and they would never in a million years think of themselves as doing spiritual work. But if it brings healing to someone else, if it is better for the community, right? If it's doing something high vibrational and good, then it is spiritual work. So we really have to get rid of these old labels and redefine what it is. Okay. How do you know if you're supposed to do it? We're all supposed to do it. That's how you know you're supposed to do it. Now the question just becomes, in what way am I supposed to do it? Right. And don't forget, that may change up from day to day, or, from group to group that you're supposed to be working with in your ministry. It can change. That is a great question. Thank you, Inspired Soul. We're going to move on to another one. All right, Hunter Santiago says, "How can I better manage the hotel this summer during a system transition? I feel like I should run away." Okay. Well, and again, these aren't, psychic mediumship reads, but I'll give you just sort of, any advice I can on this. I think that the idea of wanting to run away from something you've committed to is a tricky position to be in because you have to um show up if you know this is where you're supposed to be. Okay, I just have to finish it out. It's something you're contracted to do, and I mean cosmically. Okay, if you don't belong there, then leave. That's fine. But if you are supposed to do something and it makes you terribly uncomfortable for whatever reasons and you just want to get out of it, I would highly recommend that you are spending time with that every day. So maybe 5 to 10 minutes with your work and money guide every single day, because this is a work situation. That is your work and money guide's job, is to make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're doing it to the best of your ability, and that you can get in and out of situations on deadline. So, you should be talking with your guide every day, seeing if they can also assist you more with this. But I think that having an idea of how long you're supposed to be there can also help, because one of the reasons we often feel trapped, imprisoned, or like, I just want to run, is because there's no finish line. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. You don't know how long it's supposed to go for. Now, if this is something you could put a timeline on, then focus more on that. It'll help a lot for you to bring your A game and bring a positive attitude every day. Like, I'm only here for X amount of time left. And if you don't have that, maybe you should take a look at that. Okay. So you can even ask psychically, of your life contract, how long am I supposed to be here? I think that it's also having a game plan every day when you go into a situation you really don't want to be involved in, as to how you're going to use your blocking exercises and techniques to keep other people's energy out of you. What is your game plan when those triggers come at you, so that you can be prepared using the tools in your toolbox? Like, no, I'm not going to let that stress me out. I'm instead going to focus on this thing. Be prepared, get organized, basically. Okay, and make the most of it. I see this very commonly, and it's just sometimes we just have to get in and we just have to get out of a situation. It's almost like a video game. You're on a level, you want a higher level, but you still have tokens and things you're supposed to pick up from that current level. So get in, get your tokens, and move on up. All right, thank you, Hunter. Great question. We're going to move on to another one. This is from Sheila Jean Woodron on Instagram. Can you explain what spiritual life coach training is? How do I know if I'm ready for this? Okay. So the spiritual life coach training is through Roots Revival Interfaith. Okay. So that's a religion and a church that I started about 10 years ago. We became federally recognized in December of 2023. And so you can get trained in the 6-week course. You learn how to work with people. We call them guinea pigs. So we bring in volunteers for you to work with twice. So you do it in week 3, you do it in week 6 upon graduation. You're essentially learning how to listen to your psychic, mediumistic, and empathic abilities and channel healing information, messages, energy for your clients. Your clients are going to come in with all types of different problems, because it's very much like a therapy type session, where instead of them coming in for a reading where they wouldn't talk at all, and you would just be giving them a reading and you would just be giving them information, okay? Or if they were coming in for a Reiki session where they were not talking at all and they were just laying on a table and you were just giving them healing and sending them energy, right? This is spiritual life coaching. So they come in and they tell you what they have going on, and you just essentially learn how to listen and give that healing guidance, give them a roadmap to move forward and start making changes where they're needed, doing shadow work where it's needed. And sometimes it's something that really needs to be clinical, or there's something else going on, and we also cover that, or it's paranormal, and we cover all of that, so that you're not going beyond the scope of your abilities. Okay. I like to think of this as being something that allows more of a connection between the healer and the client than what a lot of people are getting out of something like a Reiki session or a reading. Okay, there's just more interaction going on there. How do you know if you're ready? You tell me. If you don't think you're ready, I guess you're not. If you think you're ready, stop debating, and get started. That's the only way to really get ready and get educated, is to actually, learn it. So I think you'll love it. And we had a ton of fun doing it. It was a really, really good time. All right. So we're going to move on to another one. Thank you so much, Sheila. So Kat Bathory says, "Hi, hey Ivy, can you give advice on the big sad and how to handle it? I have a hard time as a light worker balancing not being negative, but also not stuffing things down." Yeah, I think that right now there is a collective energy of tremendous hopelessness and despair. And that energy of despair is just sort of infiltrating everywhere in the world right now. And rightfully so. We have a lot of things in the world that need to be corrected, and a lot of changes going on. And with that type of revolutionary change that is going on, there's also a battle, a war going on to keep the old the same and to prevent the new system from happening, right? So we are in the awakening, we are in the revolution, we are in the end times, you can call it whatever you want, but it is the new world being created, and it's ugly. It's going to be a long, dirty journey. And there's no way that since probably 2019, we haven't noticed this. And it tends to get very sad and heavy when we have things like loss of relationships that tend to come with this type of thing. So identifying people in your life who you've outgrown, or you don't know how you ever even hung out with that person, or they're unhealthy and now that toxic energy is starting to affect you and you want to get healthy, whatever it is. Maybe you see, these people aren't really supporting you at all. A lot of women are coming to that realization. I think that, you have to try to control your feelings in the only way that we really can. And that is to identify and acknowledge that they're there, and then decide how you want your life to go. Do you want this emotion to run you? Do you want this feeling to run you? Do you want this low level energy, old crusty dusty story to run you? Or do you want to run you? What do you want? And then you need to lean into that. Okay. So, what are you going to replace it with? I think that as long as we stay in habits and we keep looking back and we're complacent with that, because that is the easy thing to do. And that's what everyone around us, the majority of people, are doing. Okay. Not necessarily because they want to be toxic, but because they're mindless. Okay. It's a lot of work to grow. Nobody wants to do that kind of work. So you're surrounded by people and atmospheres and the media, right? The world around you wants you to stay stuck. Are you going to fight or no? Also, just remind yourself regularly that, feelings are fickle and they're pretty useless. I tend to, recognize my emotions and then analyze them. And I have Gemini in, like, I don't know, 5, 7 houses, something like that, right? Sun, moon, rising, Venus. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So I'm good at doing this, but I think everyone needs to learn how to do more of this. Look at your astrology. Where is your Gemini? Where is your Mercury? Okay. This mercurial, mental, intellectual energy, what's going on in that part of your chart. This would also be anywhere you have Virgo. Okay. Virgo and Gemini are ruled by Mercury. You have to get more into the intellect, and you have to train yourself to lean more into that than emotion, than all the emotional stuff. Okay, emotions are great while they save our lives, but they can also take our lives. So don't give them too much power. Oh, I recognize this emotion. Goodbye. That's the end of that. Here's my real story because I say so. All right. And you may have to do that 50 times a day. So be it. It will get easier. All right. Let's move on to another one. That was a great question. Yes, because we can't just stuff things down. We acknowledge and we deal with it. All right. Miss Subi says, hi, Ivy. Can you explain how and why the solar flares affect us energetically? You know, I've been hearing a lot about this. I will be totally honest. I don't really care. I hear a lot about the vortexes. I don't really care. I hear a ton about portals. Don't really care. I hear a ton about like other things going on in astrology. Don't really care. I really have not found that these types of things are heavily influencing what we already know is being influenced. You know what I mean? Is it something else? Is it sort of like a little more energy? Okay. But it really has never stood out to me, nor has spirit ever shown me that this is really something I need to be paying attention to at least. I think that what we have going on right now is a whole lot of planetary movement. We have a whole lot happening with the revolution. I think that everything we're experiencing can really break down into the basic numerology and astrology, and the prophecy that we already had. You know, do I think that may be adding to it? I think it could. Yeah, I think it could add to the energy. Um, I've also heard a lot of people speaking in regards to whether it be solar flares or like, you know, a lot of sort of, you know, battles of the negative energy and attacks and all this other stuff going on. I also don't care about any of that. And I think everyone wants these ideas to be connected so that we can sort of create a more tangible world for ourselves, sort of like Dungeons and Dragons or, you know, Game of Thrones or I don't know what the hell goes on. Okay. I think it's just an attempt to sort of, you know, or this obsession that went on forever with aliens, you know, again, not to say they're not real, but like I think we want more and we want to create some type of fantasy and we want to believe that we're in a battle or we're a more significant player, you know, and it's really just the stuff we already know. Um, so I would not give it too much thought because what I think most people are doing and giving it a whole lot of thought is giving it power, giving it energy. So nothing can attack you. You know, people can have negative intentions, negative circumstances can go on in the world, but ultimately you do have the power. You do have the say, and it's kind of like hoodoo. You would have to believe it, you would have to invite it in, you would have to adopt it. And so expect okay, a lot more of this dramatic energy, but don't give it any more power than what it deserves. It's just the dying off of the old for the most part, you know. Okay, thank you so much for that one. Very interesting. That's been coming up more and more and more lately. We have another one coming in from Jill Marie. Okay. And I do have a couple here also. I have two, Jill, that I'll have you, you know, maybe pop up on the screen after we get to everybody's questions. These are the two most common questions I've been asked over the last couple weeks. They've been coming up over and over and over again. All right. So we have one from Jerry. She says, hi, Ivy. Can you talk about the parade of the X's? Why do so many X's pop up at once? And relationships of all kinds, not just romantic. Do you have any advice on how to stop the tests and close the chapter? So I think that sometimes we have something like a Mercury in retrograde going on where we will see the parade of the X's. And I did a mini class here on YouTube called Parade of the X's. You guys may want to go back and watch that. You know, what to do when they come back around. Why are they coming back around? What is the intention? What does it mean? Are you supposed to entertain it? You know, how do I get rid of this? I think that it is exactly what you said. I think that it's a test. And we have to remember that the universe, the universe is not playing games. The universe doesn't care that you say you know something. The universe is not impressed that you changed your thoughts, kind of. The universe is not impressed that you passed one test, right? And you didn't respond to that toxic ex when they reached out, or you blocked their number. Universe isn't impressed. The universe has a way of coming at it again and again and again, and then waiting a year or 2 years, and then coming at it again and again and again. And so you're going to be repeatedly tested in these areas where you have karma, where you have some type of major skill that you need to master, or something toxic you need to let go of, some growth spurt you need to have, a big level up. And what the universe is looking for is proof that you're actually going to walk it out. I don't care what you say, I don't care what you think. I want proof that in the moment when you're tested, you're going to behave a certain way. You're going to prove that you have truly adopted this new way of living. And that doesn't come cheap, and it doesn't come quick. What's going to happen before you ever get to that point where you're being tested for that is you're going to get hit again and again and again and again with the parade of the X's. And that means you're still in the original sort of testing phase, is how I like to think of it, where you haven't even gotten all your thoughts right. You haven't even gotten your emotions in check yet. You haven't got the basics down yet. And so it will happen every Mercury in retrograde, and it will happen spontaneously every single time you are potentially leveling up. You are potentially changing the way you think. You had a negative emotion, you had a meltdown almost, but you corrected it. You're processing things. Maybe you went to therapy, you're doing the shadow work, you're doing the healing work, and they show up again, and the exes show up again, and the toxic family shows up again. Why are they doing that? To stop you from getting away. That's it. So it's something the universe is allowing, and it's up to you not to allow them back in. All right. But we're no longer talking conversation. I mean, hopefully you're beyond that. At least you've leveled up from that. Say they're blocked and they're coming at you another way. It's about you not allowing it to take your energy down, right? To cause an emotional meltdown. It's about maturing beyond the mental obsession with it. And we have to be real honest about our triggers to get to that point. So it's know your triggers, know how they affect you. I would also do absolutely everything in your power. There may be more that you can clean up. Okay. So one of the easy things to do while you're upgrading with all of this karmically for yourself, and kudos on the journey, you can find as many ways as you could possibly think of to cut these people off. So if you have toxic people in your life that aren't supposed to be there, why aren't they blocked? How the heck did they get access to you? How did this even happen? There's probably a lot more cleanup. And that's the stuff the universe is like, this hasn't even been done yet. No, we're going to keep testing you. Okay. So, yeah, I want to say that people I know I was supposed to cut off from, I will get rid of everything off like a band-aid. Goodbye. You're done. And to me, they're invisible. And I don't mean, I'm not listening to them anymore. I mean, literally, they are invisible to my energy. They're invisible to my soul. They're invisible to my heart. They're invisible to my emotions. If I catch myself thinking about them or feeling anything, I stop it. I replace it with something else. No, that is toxic. That is bad. That is a lie. You are done. You are invisible to me. And it works really, really fast. But on top of all that, of course, they're blocked from everything, and they'll come from fake accounts, and they'll come from other way, and they'll use fake names, and they're ludicrous, right? And they're insane, and that's fine. But it will never affect me, and eventually they will typically fall off. It's about diligence. This is a tough one. Anyone else have that one? Parade of the exes, or toxic family members or whatever, just trying to come back into your life repeatedly. You wonder why. I would love to hear from you guys. That is a huge master skill. Okay, wrapping up that karmic chapter for sure. Okay, do we have another one coming in? Or should I get to these two? Okay. Melissa says she just ran into some exes. Okay, Kat says, yup, you're just about to level up. Absolutely. Okay, so here are the two questions that I was asked repeatedly over the last couple weeks with my clients and with my students, and even with the one, it was even in some social situations, and I was like, really, this is very interesting. So I think I'm going to do some church services or some mini classes on these. Let me know if this is something you guys would like to hear about. If you could, before I get to these, please give this video a thumbs up, drop a comment. It helps me out in the algorithm, and do subscribe. So the first one was, why don't I feel safe sharing my story? I want to share my story. I went through a really, really difficult time. I feel like I'm able to help people heal. People are always coming to me for advice. I say things that sometimes I don't even remember saying, like I'm channeling, and people are like, my God, that was profound. You really helped me with that. But why don't I feel safe sharing my story on social media, or getting into light work, coaching people? Why can't I do this? Okay, so I love this question because the only real way to get comfortable putting yourself out there after feeling as though you have been silenced, or you have literally been silenced, or you have learned to silence yourself, you have very little confidence in allowing yourself to be vulnerable and handle whatever comes after that. So it's not that you're not confident in the fact that you have a lot to share. It's not that you aren't confident in your story being healing. It's not that you aren't confident that people will like you and connect with you and want what you have to offer. It's not that. It's that you don't feel safe going out there. So that's normal, and that's wise, no doubt, given your life circumstances. And you have created, more likely than not, a bunch of storylines that are fictitious about how you're going to end up under some type of attack or scrutiny, or you're going to say and overshare something more than what you should have, and you can't take it back. You can't get back into a safe place. Okay, so I think, first of all, it's highly unlikely that that's going to happen. I think that you can always be somewhat scripted before you go out there. You can come up with a list of topics that you are comfortable sharing. You can get your feet wet. You should at least show up and open your mouth and get started with something that you are comfortable. How about something you've already been sharing a little bit about? How about we start with that? Things you were sharing in your private circle with other people, you can now do it, on social media or on a larger platform in some way. I think that it's really going to require that you put in the work. This is one of those areas, people, where you have to step out in blind faith. And it's through the experience that you gain the security. Okay. And the confidence to know that you can really manipulate the way that you share more than you think you can. And you can handle whatever may happen after you share your story, because you're not doing something toxic. You're not a fool. You're not going to misspeak. You're not going to do something bad that is maybe attracting negative karma that you deserve back from it. That is your programming. That was the abuse. Okay. That's how you were silenced. You were taught to believe that if you open your mouth, something bad is going to happen. No, it isn't. No, I doubt it. I would highly doubt it. Okay. So test it out. Let's find out. Let's just see what happens. Also, I think you gain confidence a lot faster than you think you will. Okay. So try those things to help you get your feet in the water, and I think it'll go swimmingly. Okay. But the world needs your healing, and your story should be shared. And let's never forget why, especially for those of us who are marginalized, for those of us who are minorities, LGBTQ, women, girls, let's not forget we have deliberately been silenced our whole lives. Okay. So that programming goes real, real deep. You don't even remember how it started because you were a wee little baby. All right. So it's there, and that's probably what you're feeling more than anything. The other question I got this one like 3 times in a matter of like 48 hours. People keep asking me when I'm going to teach a class on deprogramming, and or like where it is. Where's the mini class on deprogramming? Where is that service on deprogramming? I thought you said something. Now, I do say something a lot. I say deprogramming a lot because that's where we are right now. Basically, everything that the majority of us are going through most of the time can break down to the fact that we're not done deprogramming yet for the most part. Okay. So it's a collective thing in the revolution that we're going through right now. But I had a couple people ask me specifically, as a woman, how can I deprogram from the damage this has done to me? My self esteem is in the toilet. No matter what I do for my appearance or for my health or for my mental health or with my career, or I got my money straight, why do I feel like shit all the time? What is this? What is this? So, I am going to do a full class or church service, one or the other, probably in June. Maybe it's going to have to be July. Okay, but watch for that on deprogramming. So I'll break it down one thing at a time, one thing at a time. But I wanted to give you guys this quick. What I do as a woman and a minority who has been ground into dust from birth, right? All my self esteem taken away. What I do every time I realize I am shrinking, I am dimming my light, I am debating on silencing myself. I feel drained and like I don't have the fight in me to fight for something I know I need to fight for. If I find myself leaning forward, if I find myself fidgeting and getting very like anxious, if I don't feel like I can like proudly be out in the world for some I don't know why. I feel like I can't be out here. Okay. What I have learned to do is a simple trick. And I'll wrap up tonight's show with this. And this is for men, this is for women, this is for anyone. Okay. You need to picture yourself as being the queen or the king. The queen or the king has a throne. And on that throne, you sit in your power, centered, at rest, all knowing. And anyone, anything that wants something from you, maybe will be allowed to approach if you accept it, but they are not guaranteed to receive anything from you. You're going to be using your discernment about those things, those people that approach you. And everything you need or want is coming to you. You are manifesting everything you need and want for yourself. You have the power to claim from the universe. You never get down off your throne. You stay in that power. So, the minute you recognize you're getting low, you're getting hunched, you're getting nervous, you're shrinking, you're getting upset, say to yourself, whoa, 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 whoa. I think I fell off my throne. Visualize you get back up, put yourself back on the throne. It is instantaneous. Okay. It is getting centered. It is regaining your power. Every single thing in your world that felt chaotic will fall into place where it belongs because there's truth in this. That is who you are. Okay, so don't let anyone take it from you. Let's see. Looks like, did we get to everybody then, Jill? Are we good? Give me a thumbs up. I could see you. I do want to say, you guys, if you want to pre-book with any of the events I'm going to be at, okay? So Strawberry Fest, the Relay for Life, we've got Margin Manor Winery, we've got a bunch of other ones coming up. There's just a whole bunch of stuff going on. So you can go on to my website also to book a reading, a party, or a psychic fair with me, Ivy Rivera, psychicmedium.com. And again, if you wanted to jump in for the numerology class, week 3 is tomorrow, and I screwed it up. It was the first time I ever taught it. So I had to add on 2 more weeks. I did not do the math right, okay, which goes to figure with this. So we are now entering into week 3. It's going to be 5 weeks total. You don't want to do it with us live. You can get the video download anytime. Thanks so much, everyone. All right, it was good to see you guys. Thank you, Jill. See you guys next time.